Well, Jericho has that program going on, and this young lady that came down to the radio station this particular morning, her name is. Um,
I know you're kind of bad with names. I'll do some research and we'll come up with her name. But really, the focal point is what they're trying to do over there.
yeah, what they're trying to do is serve families.
Right.
They're serving families in the medical aspect. In the medical aspect is where they provide lower medication and things of that nature. And I told her that Williams Memorial and the WIP and what we embody, we're team with them. We're going to partner with them, and if somebody can't afford it, then we'll find some resources.
We got that 25.
Yeah, we got some resources. We'll provide some or find some resources. I got a lot of good guys around me. And
Bishop went over there and he's doing something.
Yeah,
one day a week too.
Bishop has it. He's doing a health fair. So we all can't be everything. We all can do something.
Right.
So we can't do everything. We all can do something, and through that we get better community.
Right.
But I want to send a shout out to Antoine Ely, which helps me with a lot of youth and sponsorship and things of that nature.
Antoine also, let the truth be told, he has done a lot in his housing, with the lower income housing, affordable housing also for maybe a nurse and a single mom with 3 kids, or even 2 professionals that just fell on hard times. So he helps the whole community is the point, and he does a Christmas rent skip program, and he's really just a thoughtful person. Thought I'd add that.
Oh yeah, guy with a big heart, and I mean,
Cunningham came from there.
And I kind of rubbed back and forth off of him, because when we took the real estate class together, and he kept going, and I kind of jumped off the bandwagon. Everything ain't for you. You got to realize that everything's not for you, and that was just not my knack or the thing I like to do, and I really love serving families.
Well, I think this thing with what you just said, I hate to interrupt you, but I agree with you on that, because you control a real nice corner here in Champaign, and one of the most heavily trafficked locations in Champaign County. So even though the real estate wasn't your knack, you can still be a landowner through the funeral home. So
definitely,
be told.
Definitely. I mean, we planned to enhance it, and we made a big impact on this corner when we first did construction here.
For right?
Yeah. We worked on it for
45 days.
We worked on it for about 3 months. It took us about 3 months. Yeah, it took us about 3 months, and I put a lot of work in, but I don't mind hard work. I mean, I learned a lot of different skills. Jack of all trades. But the master and the I mean, you kind of learn a little bit about a lot, and that's what the older guys used to teach you. Learn a little bit about a lot. You don't have to call the tire people because you had a flat, and you can save that money. And so trying to learn a little something, kind of make a savings, because we don't have the grassroots people that I grew up around nowadays. And everybody try to capitalize on the things you don't know. And if I got to teach you, when I can't get mad because you got to pay for it.
Right.
So learning lessons nowadays cost.
Yeah.
When back in the day, we had people that stood in the gap that would share that information for free.
Yeah.
Or come over to your house and you guys are finna move. Or I remember back in the day, my stepdad, Gabby, his friend, one of his friends, Robert James, came over to our house and fixed our electric. And we didn't really have a lot back then.
You didn't have a house fire over there, did you?
No. Right now, boy, I'm telling you, Robert James hooked us up. But my mom cooked food for everybody, and they had a good time. And afterwards, they played cards, and it was just a great day, a great hot summer day.
Fellowship.
Yeah, fellowship. But he added his expertise to our household, and for reward or payment of that, it was just friendship, food, good eating, and that type of thing, because the love was there. And love is heart to heart and breast to breast. You can really feel that. But just by somebody loosely saying, I love you, but never showing you that.
In vain.
Yeah, you don't not really meaning what you say. Say you like them.
Yeah.
Say I like you a lot. Don't tell somebody you love them and you're playing, you're messing with them.
Right.
So
kind of like an imitation of life.
It's fate.
John Beckwith Jr., Golden Gate Funeral Home, Texas, Florida, and Louisiana. share a little bit with the audience about the imitation of life and how, art becomes reality and so forth, just as far as how when we're sitting with families, how they may say one thing but inevitably mean another. Kind of talk a little bit about that and that maze.
Today was a pastor at Mount Olive, and I love Pastor Baker down there at Mount Olive, and my hat tips off to in the absence of Reverend Lundy Savage and their congregation, because I tip my hat to them because they're still moving on.
Yes, sir. But they're not done.
Yeah, they're holding on. They're holding on to his legacy now.
Yes, sir.
And I watched the unclothing of the pulpit of his robe on his particular chair in the pulpit, and just that was great and remarkable. But the preacher talked about rest.
Yes.
But in the normal sense of rest, we think of being tired. But he spoke about being at rest with just sometimes even mess in your life.
Yeah.
Being able to retire is rest. Being able to just get out of a bad relationship might be rest. Being able to get a job that's a great job now might be rest to you. Yeah. Because sometimes your mind, it's mind, body, and soul. Sometimes your body might need some rest. Sometimes your spirit needs some rest.
Would you say lack of rest would lead to maybe an imitation of life where to kind of bridge that gap between perception and reality, you spin an imitation just to get where you want to be, even though you may not be where you want to be? Would you say that rest or lack thereof kind of has a direct effect?
Kind of go hand in foot, because being fake is imitation. And John Beckwith, he talks about it on his particular radio program, his television program. I love John, and I love the things that they, first impressions are lasting impressions with me. And their first presentation to me was great.
It was
a remarkable service, Pastor Lundy Savage, So I don't think no other funeral home in the country could have did it any better.
They raised the bar.
And they raised the bar for me and me educate myself, because I strive to do the best. And Golden Gate Funeral Home, they're just such an awesome funeral home, and I like the setup that they had and in that stage presentation and on their YouTube video.
Wonderful. Ustream.
Yeah. Oh, well, Ustream was
Pastor Savage.
Yeah, that was actual funeral service on Ustream.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I watched
it. Extraordinarily opulent.
I watched that over and over and over again. I've watched it probably 6 or 7 to 8
There's
times.
so much attention to detail and copious attention and just so fine. It was like fitting of, say, like Elton John or Princess Diana or James Brown, for a local pastor, a grassroots.
That is a particular training video for us, and I thank the Lord for being able to utilize the internet in a positive way.
Wow, technology.
There's so many different ways we can use it in a negative way, but just use it in a positive way. And so, in saying that, you streaming that and looking at Pastor Savage's funeral service and kind of setting that bar up there, how we can elevate other families and be able to memorialize other great people in the community and be able to bring that service home. But and then just looking at the professionalism, and
the respect that the way Pastor was revered, just everything he stood for in life, it seemed like he peacefully transitioned the way he would have wanted it done. I think that's just the way, through, proper pre-planning and living your life right, according to Romans 6:23, the wages of sin is death. So seems like Pastor just and people that we align with generally just know that it's inevitable, so you might as well do the right thing here, so you'll leave that legacy and that footprint. Wouldn't you agree?
Stacy, we're all going to die.
Yes, sir. We all got that day.
So we all got that particular day. What life is about is character and legacy. It's how good of a person I can be every day, and what will people think about me. It ain't about money, because out of almost 40 funerals we have done, we have not had a Brinks truck in the funeral procession. So that do not go with you.
That's called wire transfer.
Now, you might get some jewelry. We might get to put some jewelry on you or something to try to help memorialize you.
Yeah, I remember one lady, she had a nice diamond.
Oh, wow.
Hubby, he made sure that casket was sealed.
Wow.
That vault was closed.
Oh, man, you mean...
and the dirt was thrown.
Man, that was remarkable. And
just the way he felt about
man,
just 3 daughters.
Just remarkable.
They all loved him.
Man, Mr. Hambrick, I love Mr. Hambrick to death, man. I mean, he's just a great guy. I mean, when his wife passed away in that particular night, we was just finished remodeling, and I had just dealt with him and his wife I've been dealt with him for years, but we were one-on-one for some months together while we were getting this deal done for the funeral home, and she was really educating me and giving me all the pointers she could give me. You know, you can't take stuff to the grave with you.
No.
You got to pass on the recipes, pass on the knowledge, all the stuff that you went through in your life to make somebody else's life better.
So that you are not imitation.
Yeah, you
don't want to imitate life,
and you're giving real talk back. You're telling about real experiences, real hurts, habits, and real hurts, habits, and hang-ups. You're telling it, you're regurgitating that information that you went through, that testimony. So she was giving me her testimonies in the funeral home business.
And you have listened very well, by the way. Too.
Oh, man. And so when they tell me things, but then after somebody tell you something, you let the God in you make you make the right decision.
You have to own it, don't you? Don't you have to do your own homework?
Yeah.
You can't really get an A without really studying, do you think?
But at the same time, you can't listen to everybody. You have to pick and choose who you listen to. I don't read every book because sometimes you will take on the spirit of the author. So when I like my wife said, don't pray on me, or don't put your hands on me for prayer if you ain't right. You know, she was, and she was great.
That is so true.
And so you can't connect with everybody. You can't bring everybody in your circle. Everybody can't stay in your home. Now you can be friends with them from a distance, but sometimes you can't connect with everything. And so many times we center ourselves around negative people, and then we expect positive results, but can't nothing come out of negativity but negativity.
Yeah, the wolf in sheep's clothing.
But in speaking with Mr. and Mrs. Hambrick and connecting with positive people, seniors, great positive business leaders in this community, and their children, that's great. That's centered around me, that encourage me and give me positive feedback from me and my wife and you also.
And that's something how in Champaign, it's just like, it's such a town where you have to have relationships. You have to, like you always say, people shop from whom they like, to kind of phrase that in your terms. And Deacon Hambrick's been such a spiritual and business and just a at-large figure in your life, my life, in Champaign, and how you had worked so closely with him at the Whip Hair Design on 904 North 4. Before even getting into this business, kind of talk about the mentorship and the leadership and the protege process.